Hey, this is Jeff McNeil with Doug Davison, and we're back again to talk about some of the interesting things in this week's newspaper. And Doug, it's always interesting to talk about how we find out about significant things and maybe even unusual things in the county. And you discovered one, a large animal rescue operation in the county that, quite frankly, we didn't even know existed a couple weeks ago.
Nope, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are in that same boat. It's about 10 miles, 11 miles from Raymondville near the Dent County border, not far from Montauk State Park. It's called Ashley Creek Large Animal and Wildlife Rescue and Sanctuary.
Short name.
Yes, it's a mouthful. Yeah, it's run by two women basically, but also their families, husbands, friends. A lot of people are involved in this. The two main women are named Susan Seago and Rebecca Wilson. And they have this big ranching operation out there, and they have been raising horses for many, many years. So they have all these facilities, and they take in wounded or misused or unwanted large animals like horses, donkeys, mules, pigs, goats, whatever. They work closely, interestingly enough, with a lot of people and organizations around here, including law enforcement, MDC. They've got one of the most well-known vets in this community working with them. It's an amazing thing that they've taken on. It's a 501c3 outfit now. They got their status last November, so they can accept tax deductible donations and that kind of thing. I was impressed. I just thought they were really neat people. Obviously animal lovers. They don't want to see any animal just die, for no reason, and so they'll do everything they can to save them. Just one of those things that happens in Texas County that's surprising when you find out about it.
And this would be a good time too to talk about the significance of letting us know things going on in the community, because something this big that has been in operations is 17 years?
18
years. So it's been around 18 years and the newspaper didn't even know about it.
No.
So we want to say, as we said before, never assume that we know something happened or is going on. And you found out about this one by a flyer.
Yeah, I saw a flyer posted on a bulletin board in a store regarding a pig raffle to raise some money for this organization. And I thought, well, that looks like a story, and sure enough it is. It's quite a story.
A great story, yeah. So if you have something going on and you'll be like, well, you're thinking, well, the newspaper has never covered this, it's probably because we don't know. And Doug's role here at the newspaper, one of his many roles, is to write feature stories about things going on in our community. So if you have something or know something, shoot us an email, stop in the front door. That happens quite frequently, where somebody just walks in the front door and says, hey, do you know about this? And it leads to a story. Right?
I'm so thankful. Some of the best ones happen that way. They literally walk in the door.
Well, speaking of stories and things happening in our community, you wrote another story this week, Doug, about a pretty cool program happening at Houston Middle School involving the Pregnancy Resource Center of South Central Missouri. And I read the story, very interesting. And why don't you just talk a little about exactly what's going on with Deborah Stockard and the Pregnancy Resource Center and their relationship with our middle school students.
The program is called I Am Enough, and it's basically it was created by an organization in Texas, and the curriculum has to do with building self-esteem, promoting being nice to others, and then also just education in areas where kids don't often get it these days, which has to do with maybe sexual abstention and things like, or abstinence and that kind of thing. The sixth graders, let me back up, Deborah and others involved do this with middle school students, and the sixth graders are taught more of the self-esteem building and the being nice, while the older ones, it's a little heavier curriculum, if you will, and it has to do with the sexual abstinence and just, informing them of what is, isn't, and might be, and that kind of thing. And I made a comment to Deborah, and I'm fascinated by the fact that this is going on in our school. And the school district approached the PRC asking them, hey, what can you do to speak to our students? And they came up with this program. I told her, this ain't happening where I came from.
Right.
In Seattle, there's no way she is in the middle school talking to students. There's just no way. And I love that about this community and the fact that that is going on here.
Yeah, that's really cool that that things like this, characteristics of faith and significance, are ones that are allowed to be openly discussed in a school district.
Yeah.
And, you know, as you're talking about this, Doug, and as I was reading your story, I just think of the verse that says, train up a child. And naturally, we are selfish, and we are greedy, and we're not always nice to other people. And so there's some training that has to happen in our young lives, and otherwise they grow up and maybe they've missed some of that. You're not gonna connect with everybody, but man, as many people as we can influence as possible, that's what we need to do. And it sounds like that's what's happening with these students, and, and it's a pretty cool thing.
I feel good about it. It's a healthy thing to have in the school there.
Well, you'll see on the front page of this week's newspaper, we have 3 candidates for the Houston School Board. There's 2 positions open, and so you can read profiles about all 3 candidates, get a glimpse at what they think on topics from school resource officer to a possible bond issue, and teacher salaries as well. So some pretty significant topics. They share their opinions on those things, all written by them. And Doug, obviously one of our jobs as a newspaper is to inform the public. Well, you get a glimpse now of who you might want to vote for in the election. And so I think it's pretty important that people take the time to read these profiles and know who you're supporting.
Right. I was talking to somebody in the community, fairly prominent in the community not long ago, and he was saying, you know, it's really good that you guys do this, because how else would people, you know, where else would they get that information about these people that are going to be involved in their lives, making decisions that actually affect their lives?
Right.
So,
yeah. What does this candidate think about putting a bond issue out there? Does this candidate think we need a bond issue and improvements at the school district? What does this person think about adding a school resource officer on campus? What about our teacher salaries? Are we underpaying or overpaying teachers? These are all topics that are discussed. These are people that are going to make an influence on our community, as you said. So read those. And next week we'll have the city council candidates as well in the newspaper. So read the paper and get informed. And one other thing I want to discuss, baseball season is here. And so I've got a story from Coach Brent Hall and the 2018 Houston Tigers. And one thing, Doug, you and I thought was interesting is Coach Hall, he built a long legacy of winning program and winning records in his early years. And the last few years haven't been as successful as the early years, and it was pretty interesting in his comments. He took full credit for saying things are not where they need to be, and I'm responsible, and I'm going to work to get it back to where I want it to be and where it was before. I thought that was pretty commendable for a guy to say, hey, it's on me. I'm the face of the program, and it's on me to get this fixed.
And he brought up that word culture, and he's pretty now focused on building a winning culture, and which starts with mentality, basically.
Right.
You gotta believe, you gotta think right first.
And they won 2-0 yesterday. They are 2-1, so a winning record already. So you can read about the program. Only won 5 games last year, so we're almost halfway there. So
yeah, but what happens when they have to use aluminum bats?
3 games, all wooden bat games, right? So you can read about the Tigers, see all the guys that are on the varsity team, headshots of them all, some other things in the newspaper as well. Enjoy it, get informed, and we'll catch you next week.
Thanks.